was cooking for 20 years before I ever knew what a spatchcocked chicken was. So I'm going to show you today a way that you can cut your chicken up so that it's all one thickness. It roasts very quickly. Your breast doesn't dry out. It cooks in the same time as your thighs and your legs, and you get the most delicious, consistently moist chicken every single time. So I'm just starting with a good organic hen that I've rinsed completely. What you're going to do is turn it over, and this is the backbone. You're just going to find the backbone, and I have an old pair of kitchen shears. You can just cut right along the backbone with your shears, or you can use a little boning knife. This is one of my favorites. I think it's actually a fish filleting knife from Sweden, but I use it for a lot of things. It's very sharp. You're just going to go right down either side of the spine. Make your little incision. Get her started. Sometimes I use my thumbs to kind of break through some of the bones a little bit. Grab your shears, whatever your tool of choice is, and just cut straight through on both sides. Cut those little bones right out. See? You can use that for stock, or you can toss it, whatever you like. So then you've got this nice, big, delicious girl. What you want to do then is you kind of want to break the breastbone a little bit by just bending it backwards. Some people will come under and cut the breastbone just a little bit in the back. You can do that if you want, depends on how thick the breastbone is on your hen. Break it a little bit. This is a nice, buxom girl. You just want to press your breast down a little bit so that it's about the same height as your thighs and your legs. So everything is going to be one nice, even height for cooking. Isn't that lovely? So to make the marinade, I'm going to start with one of those great big Meyer lemons from my backyard. I'm going to zest it. Then I'm going to cut it in half and just squeeze the juice from 1/2. And that's going to give me about probably a third of a cup for this lemon. My lemons are so big. Yep, looky there. Now I'm going to strain it because I always have a few seeds, but wow, yeah, that's a lot of juice. And then I'm going to put my zest in there, and I'm thinking this is probably about 2 tablespoons worth. Fine grate. Then I'm going to add probably about 1/2 cup of good extra virgin olive oil. Here is my fresh rosemary from my daughter's wedding that COVID changed a little bit. We had lots of rosemary for some big pots around the photo booth, and I am still enjoying all this wonderful, delicious rosemary. Oh, so nice. You're just gonna pull backwards on the stems. That's how you get all the rosemary off of there. And I'm gonna put those in whole. You can chop them up if you want, but I am gonna use these whole rosemary leaves. Oh, so fragrant, beautiful. Then I'm just gonna stick in probably, I don't know, 1/2 teaspoon of herbes de Provence. And that's just gonna be thyme, marjoram, savory, rosemary, basil, sage, and lavender. I got this at Trader Joe's. And you can just do this or a combination of any kinds of savory herbs that you particularly like with your chicken, but it really does need to include some delicious rosemary, since this is rosemary lemon chicken. And then of course, you're gonna wanna put in, maybe 1/2 teaspoon of salt and probably an equal amount of black pepper. And you know me, guys, use my hands. Okay, I'm chopping up a little garlic to go in. A little to me is probably about a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more. Just do it to your taste. And then I'm gonna add some local Texas honey. And also maybe just a tablespoon. I don't want this to be real sweet, but I do want to counteract the tartness of the lemon. Taking one of my little washed Meyer lemons, I want some really thin slices of lemon. So these are going to be used in the marinade for their juice. And then once they've absorbed all that oil and spices, we're going to lay those on top of our hen while she bakes. I like a nice big 2-gallon Ziploc bag. And I just put this old girl in there. And then dump. You just dump. I wipe it out with my hands. Then I'm going to pull over those beautiful slices of lemon that we had. Put those down in there with all their juice. Kind of put them all over the breast side. Ziploc her up really good. And then just kind of mush it around. Okay? Look at that. You know, a little bit of all of that goodie all over. And then I'm going to stick that in my fridge. And I like to let it marinate about 2 hours. You can do it overnight if you want to do it overnight. That's great too. Okay, just would you look how beautiful this is? Look. Oh my goodness. But now just remember, when you're finished, wash your hands and your cutting boards really, really well after you handle raw chicken. We don't want salmonella. I just take my whole bag, put it in a bowl so I can stick it in the fridge, and then maybe every half hour or so I'll just flip it a little bit to make sure that all of the marinade is going through all the little cracks and crevices, front, back, top, bottom, sides. Just move her around a little bit, every little bit. While I'm cleaning and drying my cutting boards, I'm just going to share a little tidbit. You know how I like little tidbits. Some people think wood cutting boards are not very sanitary. I will tell you that the NIH has done a study on wood versus plastic and or glass cutting boards, and they have found that the wood is by far the most sanitary kind of cutting board. You would not think that, but they found that the grooves in plastic hold and harbor bacteria even after it's washed with hot soapy water. Wood, not so much. For some reason, the properties in wood don't hold the bacteria and they don't stay alive as long. The best by far is bamboo. It's a little more dense wood, and I've had this one probably, maybe 15 years, and it's still in great condition. So I do always wash mine. If I'm just using vegetables, I just wash them with warm water and dry them right away. If I've used meat, I kind of tend to use one more for meat and then the other for veggies. So if I've used meat, like my chicken that I just cut, I definitely will use hot soap and water, dry it, and put it away in a space where air can circulate around both sides of it. I just put it upright above my refrigerator. So here I'll show you. I do have 4 different cutting boards. 2 of them are bamboo, but I have different ones for different things. You know, like if I'm just slicing something small, I'll use my little one. And then like this one, I use one side of that for veggies, and then this side, it has a draining area, so I use that like when I'm slicing a meat, because it just has that little area that catches juices. So, yep, there you go. That's my cutting board selection. Okay, I'm going to clean out the fridge with a bunch of veggies that I have. So I have washed my bell peppers. I'm going to show you how I slice them so I don't even have to think about seeding them. I just take a really good butcher knife, start at the top, go down, and then twirl around. Just cut each little section off, like that. And then all you have left is the seeds on the inside. If you want the little bit on the bottom, you can have that too. But then you've just done all your work. without any muss or fuss. And then you can just slice your little guys to whatever size you want. Makes it really quick. And then on I go with some zucchini, some yellow squash, some Brussels sprouts. Just gonna do whatever strikes my fancy. Put them all on a big old baking sheet and roast them. So we're gonna start with olive oil to make a marinade for our veggies. I kind of want to do the same flavor profile. So I'm gonna do some lemon pepper that I crack and grind fresh. And then I'm gonna add some more of those herbes de Provence. Just kind of a few sprinkles of those. Some more lemon juice, just the other half of that lemon, which I'll just squeeze over my fingers to catch the seeds. And some more garlic. And then we're just gonna whisk that up. You can add anything you want, by the way, just any flavors you really like on your veggies. So I have prepped a full sheet pan with some parchment paper because I told you I don't like cleanup. And then I just plop in each of my veggies and I drain them with a big slotted spoon and then just transfer them over to that parchment lined baking sheet. Just want to make sure that they each get a good little dose of oil and flavor. And then you just spread them out on your baking pan. There's these yummy little Brussels sprouts. I'm the only one that likes them here, but oh, they're so good when they're roasty, toasty, crunchy. And here's what it looks like when I lay everything out. The last thing I'm gonna do is sprinkle them with another little seasoning I have that's got garlic, salt, pepper, and I think it's actually even got a little bit of dried Parmesan cheese in it. Now off we go to our little chicken. So I'm gonna remove it from our big bag that it's been marinating in. And I do just use my hands, you guys. I'm just gonna pull her out. This is a foil lined baking pan. And I tuck the little wingtips under. Some people clip those off, but then I think they just kind of stick out. So I tuck them under that big fat breast and that holds them down. And then you just kind of situate everything. And I put those lemons back on top of the whole bird. They are soaked with oil and all those wonderful flavors, and they just actually continue to protect the top a little bit when we're first baking it. Now, halfway through baking, I'm gonna open the oven and I'm gonna take all those lemons off of the breast and I'm gonna slide the tray of veggies in on the rack right beneath the hen. And we're gonna bake both of those together for another 30 minutes. And here's what you'll have when you open the door again. If you wanna check for doneness, you'll need to use an instant read thermometer right around the thigh and you'll look for 165 degrees. And here's your perfectly roasted veggies that you're gonna pile on the plate right beside this succulent bird. Now, of course, you know you're going to want your bird to rest on the counter for a few minutes so all the juices kind of go back into the meat and they don't just run out when you cut it. But I have to show you the cooking method that we've done here today just creates this most wonderful crisp skin. And then when you cut down into the meat, I used the word succulent a while ago. That's not a word I use very often. My kids will probably hate it. But this meat is so moist and delicious. It is just beautiful. This is a really impressive way to cook a roast chicken for a guest or even just your sweet little family. Now get out there and have a happy Valentine's Day. Go and love on somebody.